What a special morning. The turkey vultures are here. I don't want to talk. It feels so magical having like hundreds and maybe even thousands of birds just fly over you. The ravens are not happy, as you can hear. They're like, get out of here. Yeah, it's like such a peaceful, quiet morning with all the birds flying over. I don't know that anybody has landed in any of my trees, but I've been out here, so it's not prime real estate with me bothering them. This feels like the perfect morning to start something new. I'll sit down in my little hammock chair and give you guys the rundown. Teddy is super freaked out, I think because of the turkey vultures. We went out to go potty this morning, and he took 2 steps out the front door and turned around and ran back inside with his tail tucked, which he has never done, ever. And I didn't see anything at the time, and I looked for birds. I looked up in case there was like an owl or a hawk or something, but the turkey vultures weren't here yet as far as I know. But I drug him out there and made him potty anyways, because obviously there's nothing wrong. I walked around, I don't see anything. But yeah, either way, I have something really exciting. It's been like 4 years in the making. I have wanted to do this since before I even had the homestead, and that is start a little home orchard. I've been waiting all this time though until I had the spigots installed so I could water them, because fruit trees need a lot of water and I wasn't about to do that all by hand. So I have a hose now. I actually had to buy a little bit of an extension for my hose because that 100-foot hose doesn't quite reach all the places I know I'm gonna have trees back there. And our temperatures are finally cooling down. It's crazy. The first day of fall hit on the calendar and our weather was like, bam, it is fall. We only have like 70s or 80s in the forecast basically from now on until we cool down for winter and it's like 50s, 60s. But yeah, I think the 90s are done and definitely 100-degree weather is done, which means it's a good time to get some trees in the ground. I know a lot of places you don't plant trees until the spring, but I am following kind of the wisdom of another YouTube channel that's based out of Arizona, so they're a little bit warmer than me, but still, I am in grow zone 9A, I believe. So a lot of citrus, for example, are hardy through like 8B-ish. And the YouTube channel, he puts all of these types of trees that I am going to plant in the ground in the fall so that they have all winter and then all spring before summer hits. Summer is actually the problem child. It's so hot and dry that some plants can really struggle in the summer. I have 3 plants I'm putting in the ground today. My nursery gets bare root trees in January/February, so I will be getting 2 more trees then to put in the ground, with the possibility of maybe wanting a couple more in the future, but I don't want to overdo it right now. I would really like an avocado tree, for example, one day, but they need humidity. Out in the desert, they can really struggle, and so I think it can be done. There is a variety that was cultivated in Palm Springs, which is hotter than here. So I would like to try that variety and see if I can do it, but that is going to be a problem for a future Heather who has a little bit more time on her hands and is not like still living in a huge renovation. But these trees will hopefully be a little less maintenance, so I'm not taking a whole bunch of time, and it's going to be years before they produce anything. Even if they want to try and produce anything this year, I'm going to cut it all off and focus them on growing their roots and being nice and big and strong instead of making fruit. It's been this huge weight off of my shoulder to finally get trees in the ground because it takes years, and every year that I didn't get trees in the ground up until this point, I was like, I'm delaying it. So it's a really awesome feeling to finally be getting trees in the ground. So with that said, I think I'm going to go get a mic and get the camera set up and everything down where we're going to plant. And I think I'm probably going to need a sun hat because I am in the shade. You guys can see the sun. It's pretty intense this morning. So go get a sun hat and gloves and everything, and we'll get to work. All right, so the first plant I'm gonna get on the ground, in the ground, words are hard. This is a loquat. It's the big gym variety. Should be self-fertile. Sorry, I'm watching the ravens like try and shoo the turkey vultures away. It's really entertaining. But yeah, loquat is probably the most exciting fruit that I'm going to plant. This guy has aphids, so we're gonna give him a good spray and everything. Can be really choosy about the plant when it's such a unique plant like this. I'm really lucky that I even could find it in stores. If you've never had a loquat, they make like ping pong ball sized fruit that have multiple seeds in them, but they're like big, like pits, so they're easy to eat around. You eat the skin as well as the fruit, and they taste really good. I don't know what to describe them as, like mango-y almost. I went into a Thai food store in town, and somebody local is growing them, and they had so many that they were taking them places and dropping them off, and they had one, and the guy was like, "Do you want to try one?" I was like, "Yes, please." And I fell in love. It was delicious. I guess the first thing I need to do is figure out how deep he is planted in this pot, because it kind of looks like it's deep. That way I know how deep in the hole to put him. Oh, there's some feeder roots. Okay, I think we're gonna cut the stake because he's in the way. I tried to get the smallest plants I could of everything. This was the only size loquat I had available. Well, it's not too root bound. And I guess that is the crown, because that's where my first roots are coming out of, and it's a big root. Because I've never really planted fruit trees before. I did a lot of research on what I'm supposed to do. It's really interesting because all the things that I was raised on what you're supposed to do, like dig this huge hole, put a lot of fertilizer and everything in it, that's like not the popular notion anymore. What they're saying now is to do this teeny tiny little hole and basically do nothing. The thought process is the people who are doing those big holes, putting all the compost in, you're going to get a lot of really good growth, but you're not training the roots to go out further than that area. In the desert, especially, we want the roots to go really far to hold the tree down, because I have all this sand, really a concern of mine that things don't blow over. He's already really top heavy. The other trees that I will get to in a second are not, so I'm not worried about him, but he needs staked. I'm just gonna dig a hole the size of the plant and put it in and put it above ground so that he doesn't get wet, and then dig a swale for him. And you can see he's in the wash right now. We just got our water, so I can see exactly where the water's running. And so anytime it rains, they'll get runoff that will fill up this swale. It kind of feels wrong for it to be that easy, so we'll see if everybody fails or not. But yeah, that's what they're all saying these days, is to kind of not do too much. Apparently I need to wet the hole first, because it is hard as a rock. Okay, so while I'm waiting for the water to soak in for this guy, let's go over to the mesquite tree, and we need to actually redig the swale for him. If you follow that other guy, he has like clay soil. I have sand, and so if they get overwhelmed, it erodes away immediately. And yeah, that rain that we had was like a once in a 50-year rain or something, and it overwhelmed my swales and stuff, so they need redug. Yeah, so not only did it overwhelm the swale, but it actually like buried it back in. I'm not even using these stakes anymore. I really should get rid of them. It's a lot of work to pull stakes out of the ground. I think it's funny, in my last video that I had the mesquite tree in, a lot of people were like, you need to use swales and berms. I am using swales and berms. You know, I was really confused that people were confused and not seeing that this was a swale and a berm. But I got to thinking, I think maybe probably a lot of people are used to seeing circles for swales and berms. And I'm on a slope. It does me no good to put a ridge up here. It would literally block the runoff. So basically what I have here is a wall that when the water runs down the hill, it's going to stop. And then I will collect the water. It would be detrimental for it to be a circle because then I wouldn't catch all the runoff. It would be a wall preventing the runoff from getting inside the bowl. So yeah, that's why this is only a semicircle. So I have this inner piece that I water with the hose, and I have this outer piece that now that the tree is a bit bigger, I'm definitely going to start watering it with the hose too and fill it up every time. But for a while, when this tree, I wasn't even sure if this tree was going to make it. He has really had a rough life so far. I put the cage on because the bunnies were eating his bark, girdled the tree, and I'm surprised he came back from it. I'll take a up-close video of it. It's really cool, actually. Look how cool it is. This is the tree that got eaten and died, and it was like, okay, well, I'll just come up here and start. So it's really neat how, like, nature persisted, basically. Overcame all odds to keep this tree alive. And if you see me filling this bowl in over here, there's a hole in the ground from where my hose exploded the other day. I also have this acacia bush over here that I need to do the same thing for. So let's move the camera. So I planted this acacia off camera. So when the mesquite tree I thought was going to die, I was hurry up and plant this other guy to get him. Oop, that was a root. Sorry. Dug too deep. And then the mesquite tree bounced back. So I'm a little bit unsure whether I want both of these plants here. This is really my garden area, and they're both ornamentals. So it's like, am I wasting space having these ornamentals here? There's a chance that this acacia tree is going to get replanted somewhere else. We have our native plant sale coming up here at the end of October. And so I have my eyes on a couple of trees. And if I don't get them, then I think the acacia might be promoted to a new position. Get more water in the hole. And I guess we can move on to the other trees. As you can see, here's another wash, so I'm going to put another tree. This is a variegated pink lemon, and this is the tree that kicked it all off. I saw this tree on Pinterest in like 2016, I don't know, and it's been on the wish list ever since. I put you back pretty far so you could get a sense for where everything is. We're planting really far apart. I do want to keep these trees pretty small, so it might be too far apart to create any sort of like a full hedge action against the neighbors. I also am not putting them in a line. So the mesquite and the loquat are kind of on one level, and then I'm a good 5 feet forward and putting the tree forward some. Just because I want to try and keep things a little bit more organic in this area. I don't want to have like perfectly symmetrical lines and stuff. So this is north-south, so it's blocking my eastern view. And everybody along this fence line will be perennials. You know, during the year, they'll cast a little bit of morning shade, but then the sun will get up and everything inside the garden will be in full sun. The other trees that I want to get will be deciduous, meaning they drop their leaves in the winter. In the winter, when the sun is further south in the sky, the deciduous trees will drop their leaves and nothing in the garden will be cast in shade. And then during the summer, the sun is high enough in the sky that that's not an issue. That's kind of the thought process behind everything. And let's see how hard this soil is. Oh yeah, much easier. I think he's not actually like, yeah, those are roots. He is not over potted. That's the level of the soil. So this hole is going to be pretty deep. I guess we'll go to the last plant and I'll talk to you about it before I probably finish digging holes off camera. Okay, so the last two trees that you saw are from a nursery that I had to drive quite a ways to get to. This is a Home Depot plant, and this is a Navel orange, which is like an orange juice orange. We'll have a little bit of a comparison between how the nursery trees do and the orange tree does. These from Home Depot just got here, meaning that they were actually in their nursery up until last week. So the other thing to keep in mind, if you're not familiar with my soil or my sand, if you want to be cheeky about it, when I get my swales and berms set up on all of these trees, the water will have a chance to really soak in and penetrate. And as you guys can see, the reason I'm adding water is that it makes the soil able to be penetrated. Keeping everything watered and whatnot, the soil will be soft and able for the roots to penetrate through. Yeah, I guess this is where I'm going to leave you, and I'm going to work on digging some holes, and I will put you guys back on when we're ready to start putting plants into holes. While I was waiting for the water to soak in on those other holes, I came through and watered in the rings. And then this creosote bush is going to get ripped out here one of these days. And I also really need to come through and retie the cage that's on this mesquite tree. And it's really nice actually to have that cage on it because it forced all of the limbs to grow up. It truly was nothing but like a teeny tiny little stick like this size down there when it was still malleable, and so I just kept flipping it up so that it came up and out, just the same way that I'm doing with this guy. He was originally stuck through the side and I was just like, nope, come up. But you can see there's a couple of limbs that are like snaked around in there that I want to get in there and prune and can't really because there's a lot of thorns on this guy. But you can see that there's a lot of branches that are short, and I didn't do that. The bunnies did that. So I have to keep this cage on until I have like a really big tree that has like real bark and not baby tree bark. Every time the tree grows, these little branches push up the thing, and I have to keep readjusting it, which I'm sure I'll have to keep doing. But since he's got so many leaves and we're going into cooler weather, I think I'm just gonna trim the stuff down low and really encourage him to be a tree, and also prune all the dead old tree out of here, because that's also part of the problem, is that the old tree is forcing the cage to be where it's not really efficient to be. Okay, I cleaned up the tree so that all the little baby branches would stop getting hung up on it, and so that the cage will sit a little bit closer to the tree, so hopefully that stops happening. But I'm not sure if that is from maybe he grew too fast, it's like a growth spurt, or if he's just been rubbing. Okay, well, I had to go inside and do some work. Have the holes dug. I also tried to spray off some aphids, and I definitely got some of them, but some of them are still on there. And I imagine that they will just die before they can make it back onto the tree. So I'll just keep an eye on him, and hopefully he's good to go. Got my hole dug here. It might be, it's kind of overdug now. So basically what everybody online is saying is that you want them to be planted well above ground level. First of all, because the soil is going to settle, but also because, you know, I'm going to flood irrigate this basically. And so you don't want the plant to be sitting in water because they might rot. So it's really not that deep of a hole at all. And the plant is like right here on the pot. So I think that's good. Kick him out of the pot for the second time now. And then obviously there's more soil than there is hole. And so then you're supposed to just mound up the soil around the plant. And that's also why you want to make sure to unbury the plant to the root crown. And then basically now, what he needs is a swale, but I guess I should stake him first because he's gonna blow away if I don't. So I want to make sure that I put the stakes, well, he's a little crooked. Can I? I'm trying not to hurt you, tree. Stop getting your leaves in the way. This is how my dad always says to stake trees, is with scraps of t-shirt. It's nice and soft. It won't hurt the tree, won't rub on it. Stretches with it if it needs to. So then I have this hardware cloth that I didn't necessarily buy for this. It's just been hanging out, but do this and see how big I need to fit these stakes. Alright, and then this is literally the twisty tie that came with the hose that I just bought. Alright, so that twisted the cage shut. It can't open now. Throw a few more on this side just to anchor it on here. What about that? I just tie the whole thing, actually. No twine, just t-shirt straight to stake. And then bring this guy up a little higher. So the cage, if you were really concerned about squirrels, you would want to bury it. I'm not. The squirrels don't seem to go after the bark. It's the rabbits that do, from what I've seen. They haven't tried to get underneath the cage on the mesquite tree. The swale I'm just going to put right on the outside of the cage. And so when I water, I'm watering the swale, but because water seeps, it will seep into the roots and it will also seep away. And so even though you're only watering this little section, the water goes much further. And as the tree gets bigger, I can add another set of swales, just like I did with the mesquite tree, where it's like a huge one. The other nice thing about mulch is that sand erodes so quickly, so being able to water mulch instead will help keep the sand in the place that I put it. Well, yeah, alrighty, little guy, you are off into the brave new world.
pets are cute, huggable pets that pop open into full-size pillows. They're soft, they're cuddly, and they make perfect pillows. Moms, your kids will absolutely love their pillow pets. There's a panda bear, a ladybug, a frog, a dog, a unicorn, a dolphin, a bumblebee, a monkey, and so many more. Everyone needs a pillow. Why not have a fun pillow? Adopt your pillow pet today.